let's jump into our next topic here. So this has been a bit of a controversial one. The Founders Edition RTX 3070 Ti, so the one that we actually reviewed, people are having a really hard time finding evidence online that NVIDIA ever actually launched it. So Best Buy in the US, and shoot, I forget who it is. Is it Scan? I don't know. There's a partner over in Europe as well. But Best Buy in the US was among the only places that you were actually able to get a Founders Edition 3070 Ti at launch. But did it really? After Best Buy angered customers by selling the RTX 3070 Ti online only when the 3080 Ti actually did launch in store, which obviously makes it easier for bots to snatch them up. After that whole thing happened, it turned out that not even the bots got any. Now, I hate to give any attention to bot and reseller groups at this time, especially given the adversarial relationship that the gaming community and the reselling communities have. But according to bot and reseller groups, the card never actually went up for sale. It apparently went immediately from coming soon to out of stock. And other major reseller groups have corroborated the story, with one saying, my monitors didn't see any 3070 Ti's go in stock on launch day. And this is a different behavior from previous launches on the Best Buy website, where adding it to the cart isn't enough. You need to wait for preparing to distribute, then click add to cart again. If there's enough stock, then it'll work. And so that delays the checkout process. So this delay can last like several minutes. So if you're thinking that maybe they got snapped up by particularly quick bots, that doesn't appear to be what happened, because, and this adds even more fuel to this controversy. Luke, if you want to, I'm going to fire this up if you want to talk them through the rest of it here. Sorry, give me a sec.
Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is it's unsure what's actually going on. We don't know that it's a paper launch, but with no evidence on either side, it kind of seems like it. Anthony added a note saying, considering demand and supply right now, any launch is a paper launch, but I'm inclined to agree with the crowd this time. And I agree with him pretty strongly there. We've talked about this in the past. This was a pretty notable point of something that I don't necessarily even want to bring up again, which was the 3080 Ti pricing, which is just like, it basically doesn't matter because you're not going to be able to buy one anyways, which ended up being maybe potentially even more true with the Founders Edition RTX 3070 Ti.
So this is one of those ones where I'm having a hard time figuring out exactly what NVIDIA is playing at. If I had to guess, I would say they saw the backlash after the 3080 Ti launch, where gamers were clearly not happy with them pricing it according to what the market will bear. They wanted them to price it more in line with the MSRPs of their product launches in September, the 3090, 3080, and 3070. So it seems like what they did is they responded by pricing the 3070 Ti more in line with those September launches, at least for the Founders Edition. As we talked about on the WAN show a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, NVIDIA is not a manufacturer. They do not actually play a manufacturing role in add-in board partner cards. So bringing back up these eBay listings, whether it's ASUS or EVGA or Gigabyte or MSI or Palette or whoever it is. So you can see all these different Zotac. NVIDIA is not the manufacturer for those cards. So when NVIDIA sets an MSRP, it's more of a public relations move than an actual enforceable like pricing directive. They can't control it. If NVIDIA says, hey, ASUS, price your card at, I'm having trouble remembering, is it $599, I think, for the 3070 Ti? Price your card at $599. They can say that, and they can throw a little tantrum if ASUS doesn't do it, but they ultimately did not make the product.
Yeah, $599.
They did not sell it to the reseller, who will ultimately mark it up and resell it to the customer. And so they don't really have any power. There are levers that they can pull. They can slash ASUS's allocation on the next round of production, or they can slash their marketing budget. There are things they can do, but ultimately, legally speaking, they cannot control the price that ASUS actually sells it at, in spite of that being their MSRP for the 3070 Ti. The one card where that's an exception is the Founders Edition, because that is actually NVIDIA's card that they actually price and sell to resellers, and it makes its way into the hand of regular consumers. So what it appears might have happened is NVIDIA set this MSRP for the 3070 Ti, knowing that it was going to be nothing other than a PR stunt, and that immediately their resellers would adjust according to the current market conditions, and then basically just didn't even bother making any appreciable number of 3070 Ti's. As far as we can tell, it's pretty much none. And just kind of went, okay, see you later, bye-bye. Technically, consumers, we're the good guys. We priced it at $599, which is actually, in my opinion, pretty reasonable. Yes, it's not a huge performance uplift over the 3070. Yes, it has a crypto mining lock, which I still think blows, because outside of miners, like regular consumers, I have no problem with them mining, especially now that graphics cards cost so much. It's nice to be able to offset the cost a bit. So yeah, like, it has sucky things about it, but it's not outlandish. It's not crazy. It's a way better value than the 3090 was at launch, and yeah, a handful of people complained about that. They kind of went, yeah, well, it's a Titan, it's overpriced, what do you want? There wasn't the same level of freakout that there was over the 3080 Ti. So what it looks like is NVIDIA's trying to play both sides. They're trying to go, hey, yeah, we priced it at $599, look at us, look at how reasonable we are, which was ultimately our conclusion in our review. But then by not actually making it, and by just selling all these chipsets at, who knows, it might be at a margin that their add-in board partners won't be able to sustainably hit that price. I have no idea. Because another thing NVIDIA doesn't control is the price of all the other components that are required to make a graphics card, MOSFETs, capacitors, PCBs. I mean, everything is in shortage and or a logistical challenge right now.
Metals in general, so coolers. And
metal even is like going up in price like crazy. NVIDIA can't even control that stuff anyway. So ultimately, the board partners are going to price it higher, and NVIDIA can kind of go, yeah, but we did the right thing, is kind of what it smells like to me. But what we can do is we can check and see, okay, did any of these make it out there? Because if they did, that means they did at least sell some. 2 3070 Ti Founders Editions, 3 sold on eBay. That's it. 2 of these appear to be from the same seller, because this is an identical picture, unless one of them is just a fake listing, which is also possible.
I would say.
It also says ships next day, which my understanding is you're not allowed to sell things you don't have. Yeah, both of these are from the Tone Zone. Never used in any way. That's it. Wow.
Can you open up that picture more? I guess I'm going to see this super delayed, so it's not going to help me. But is that like in someone's home, or is that a super standard picture? Is this possibly just not real at all?
It's on a desk. Yeah, it's on a DX Racer desk.
Okay.
But it's also entirely possible that this is like a review unit or something. Like, I don't know.
That's what I'm kind of
who this is.
If there's literally one, like,
well, there's literally 3.
Yeah, but two of them are two of them look exactly the same, right?
Yeah, that's true. And actually,
so maybe there's 2.
Both listings say card was taken out of box to inspect content and take photos for this ad, never used in any way. I mean, why would you take 2 of them out of the box to take the same picture? So it kind of sets off my BS detector right away there.
Yeah.
So in terms of ones that are actually different from each other, there's just 2. One in California and one of them in Kentucky. That's it. How
and
like
we haven't had a single user say that they've used it, right? So like someone could have one that they're just sitting on gaming with right now.
Yep.
But we haven't heard anyone come forward saying that they are doing
I mean,
that.
yeah, I mean,
It doesn't mean it's impossible.
We've got over 10,000 people watching right now. Sup, y'all? Hey, thanks for tuning in. I want to hear from you guys. Hit the @LinusTech, the official Twitter. Hit the @LinusTech handle. If you have a picture of an RTX 3070 Ti Founders in your computer, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see it in your computer, and flash me an L for LTT in the picture so that we can verify that you actually saw this message and you're not just like stealing this picture from somewhere.
Yeah.
So Chef Maiku says, well, why did NVIDIA lie? Okay, so they didn't lie. They released the 3070 Ti priced at $599.
Because there's one.
Right. Exactly. So that's what it means. That's what it means. It means that, no, they didn't lie, but also what they did appears to have been extraordinarily misleading, because it doesn't appear that the pricing they promised is anything that they can actually deliver to the end user in any way. Declan 3093 says, bruh, you can buy them on StockX. Okay, how many? How many? Here, hold on. Let's find out. Okay, so 3070 Ti Founders. Remember, we're looking for Founders Edition. So we okay, this doesn't say how many there are, though.
Yeah, not at all.
Actually, number of sales, 9. That is still fewer than the number. Okay, love you, honey. Yeah, love you. Thank you for sponsoring, but you got to go away right now. That is still fewer than they would have sent out in review samples alone. We've only accounted for 11 cards now. That's it. So even if they did release it, even if they did produce a bunch of these, it's nothing compared to a typical GPU launch. Now, we could go silver lining on this. We could go silver lining on this, and we could say, oh, well then maybe the conspiracy theory that NVIDIA is using up all of their good dies to make the new TI parts, and they're going to cut off supply of the non-TI lower price parts, maybe that's not true then. But I also think that it probably is more to do with that they're just allocating everything to mobile, where they make way more anyway. That's another thing too. That's like something that I think the people who were upset because it was going to constrain supply of 3070 and 3080 weren't accounting for, is that 3080 and 3070 have been constrained since the mobile part launches anyway, because NVIDIA makes way more on mobile GPUs. So that's just something to consider, because there's no AIB. They just get to sell the dies, and I believe they sell the memory as well. Don't quote me on that one, but they just get to sell the bare kit directly to the integrator, who's going to put it right on the PCB, right on the motherboard of their notebook. And they're also just more expensive. They just charge more for them. All right, so let's see. So far, nothing. We haven't had anyone hit us up with a picture of a 3070 Ti.
I mean, that's a pretty substantial, and you're not just, I think, did you say 10,000? Is that just the YouTube audience? Because you've got Twitch and Flowplane watching as well.
No,
that's a pretty substantial amount of people.
I counted both. And remember, this is a
special amount of enthusiast audience this is the exact people that would be buying this card,
yes,
would be trying to buy this card, would know a friend that bought this card,
yep,
something like that. Like the reach and demographic is extremely strong.
So I think some people are misunderstanding what I'm saying. Mr. Tom says, check Steam to see how many are in use, to see if there's any 3070 Ti's. No, I'm not saying there's no 3070 Ti's. I'm saying NVIDIA's trying to eat their cake and have it too. They're trying to play the good guy, releasing 3070 Ti at this reasonable price in the grand scheme of things, but also sell it at market prices through their AIBs, because, oh, well, there's nothing we can do to control the price that Gigabyte or Asus sets it at. And we've seen this behavior in the past. I mean, it's not like this is new because of the COVID pandemic or anything like that. NVIDIA will set a very aggressive launch price. And over time, whether it's in the form of, super clocks or Strix or whatever, all those MSRP launch priced models will ultimately get discontinued to be replaced by slightly better ones with better coolers and better VRM and whatever else. And the truth of the matter is, from the AIB's perspective, that's often necessary to A, build cards that are at a quality that they're happy with, and B, actually manage to make any money on those cards. I get it. I understand why it happens. It's just that now it's happening to a much more extreme degree, like we've never seen before. It's taking that phenomenon and it's blowing it up under a magnifying glass, because the difference between this NVIDIA pie in the sky fantasy price and the real world price is so huge. I would imagine there's significant pressure on NVIDIA from their partners to not make too many Founders 3070 Ti's, because they're just going to be making them look bad because it's not realistic. It's basically, it's dumping. I mean, it's actually an illegal practice in some contexts. Dumping a product where you have like a supply side advantage and competing unfairly against anyone, let alone your own partners. I mean, they could be opening themselves up to legal action potentially if they were reallocating all the chips to themselves and selling it at a price that their partners can't meet, when they have the burden of all of this overhead that comes along with developing these cards for themselves. Like, it's actually a big problem. It's not, and there's no quick and easy solution.
As far as my understanding goes, a lot of the board partners were pretty frustrated about Founders Edition at all in the first place,
Absolutely.
let alone in the current climate. So yeah, I expect there's quite a bit of pressure there.